What's up, all of our neighbors all around the world? Hopefully you guys are feeling good because we are feeling amazing. My name is Jaleel Coleman, and I get awesome opportunity to be the Chief Service Officer of North 13th. And this is my brother, my covenant blood brother, and my partner, Mr.
Justin Phillips.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
And so we are here this morning for another episode of Good Fellas First Supper. And I'm super excited. Good Fellas is the name of our brotherhood here in our village, which we call the neighborhood of North 13th. And basically we come together on Saturday mornings just to be able to kind of kick it, to be able to talk, to be able to fellowship, and basically being able to create opportunities to, just really mastermind with each other. In the Bible, it says that where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there I also am in the midst. And also one of our favorite books, Think and Grow Rich, talks about that when you bring a collective of minds together in one space and you guys begin to have these conversations, you'll be able to unlock another brain, right? It's like literally another brain that forms from all these different people that come together. So we have 3 pillars that we stand on here within the neighborhood. Those 3 pillars are wellness, our work, and our wealth. And so we come together as men to be able to share what's going on in our wellness journeys as far as our spirit, our mind, our body, what's going on in our work journeys, our career, and then what's going on in our wealth, right? How are we building towards family legacies? What's really important about this space is that we are very much in a place where men, I feel like, are not necessarily catered to in this capacity. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't have a space where we're able to share, talk, have an outlet, have a place where we're able to really chop it. And so this is a place for y'all to be able to be safe, for you to be able to be free. So fellas, if you're watching this, or ladies, if you're watching this and you can think of a man in your life, whether it's your husband, your boyfriend, your little brother, your son, your whoever it is, if you want to find them and finding God, this is definitely a place for you to be able to have that happen. All right. So men, how we feeling this morning? Feeling good? All right. Praise God. Praise God. So look, we always like to start off this. Oh, it's Robin. Okay, my bad. All right, sorry about that. Okay, cool. All right, so basically, I guess what we can do, the way that we like to start with this neighborhood game that we have called Nice to Meet You. All right, so Nice to Meet You is a game where we've invented here in the neighborhood. It's a beta version of the game. Okay, so say it again.
So do it like this.
Do it like this. Oh, okay, cool. All right, hold on 1 second, y'all. Let me get the mic sweep. Hold on. All right. Okay, cool. Better? Tell me exactly. Okay, cool. All right. So this is a neighborhood game that we created called Nice to Meet You. It's a beta version of it. We'll have physical cards and stuff soon. But right now what we're going to do is basically we have different levels, okay? You can pick whatever level you want to start at, okay? And then you ask somebody else the question, all right? Just the opportunity for us to break the ice, be able to get to know each other and see, like, who are you for real? You know what I'm saying? Next to me, okay? So it's different levels that you can kind of go into. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and kick it off. If you don't know the person, just say bro right there with the green or whatever it is, find out their name. All right, and we're gonna get into it. All right, so we're gonna start off today. We're gonna start off today on level 2. All right, we're gonna start on level 2. All right, I'm gonna ask, let's see, I'm gonna ask Sean. Sean, what's the hardest thing you've had to unlearn? Yep. Oh, okay, cool. All right, Sean, what's the hardest thing that you've had to unlearn? Okay. Hold on 1 second, Sean. We're gonna put this on the sweet. Hardest thing that you've had to unlearn.
It's real. The hardest thing I had to learn. Unlearn.
Yeah.
I think letting go and letting God. Like, it's a lot of things that I try to fight myself and do myself. It's a lot of things that I just kind of like, because it's just been me, you know what I'm saying? Like, before all of this, letting go was like one of my biggest things. And even, with family and friends and people that I keep near and dear and close to me, you know what I'm saying? Just learning to let go and be in a space where I can be seen, you know what I'm saying? So that's my biggest thing, is just, letting go, because I hold on to a lot of things.
How many fellas deal with control, like holding control? Yeah, facts. So you're not alone in that one, bro. That's definitely a difficult place.
Yeah.
for a lot of us.
So I'll just read the next.
Yeah. Pick one of the next ones within level 2, and then.
So just scroll.
Huh?
So just scroll.
Yeah. You can
Okay.
scroll. Yeah, scroll and see which other one is in level 2, and then ask that to whoever you want to ask it to.
All right. Who taught you the most about how to move through the world? You.
All right, go ahead.
Start
Share
off
your
with my
name with us,
name.
brother.
All right, cool. So, good morning, everybody. My name is Cody Brown.
What up, Cody?
What's up? What's up? So, the question says, who taught you the most about how to move through the world? I can't really say one specific person. I probably would just say like life experiences. You know, like seeing what certain mistakes my family made, seeing mistakes that my brothers made, you know, my parents, things like that. That's pretty much how I was able to learn how to navigate through this thing called life and the world. You know?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
What was there anybody there in your life, like present, that you were able to, learn from growing up, or do you feel like you didn't have that, so you had to just pull from the world?
I mean, it's a collective. You know, I got my mom, I got my dad, older brother. It's a collective.
Word.
Yeah.
But just not one person and specifically feels like they stood out.
I think that kind of would be selfish just to say one person because there's a lot, you know?
But if you had to narrow it
if I had
all the
to-
way down, who is the one person you feel like I really learned from this person the most?
My mom.
Your mom?
Yeah.
Why?
You know, she's definitely good. She's really, really good. You know, like I remember like growing up, like my mom used to work at a hotel and like it's just me and my brother at home, you know? Just thugging it out kinda while she's late at work late at nights, you know, doing what she gotta do to make sure we're good. And always encouraging me, you know? So
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. A lot of us feel like with men, well, let me ask you, how many of you guys were closer to your mom growing up? Okay, how many of you closer to your pop growing up? Okay. Well, for you two, you didn't raise both. Who were you closer to, or who did you kind of lean in on growing up? Your grandmom? Both of you guys grandmoms? That makes sense.
You know what's interesting though, because that's funny that was wrong. Because
Oh, yeah.
that's okay.
That's cool. Right.
For me, I was actually closer with my dad growing up, and then as I get older, I'm like 101 mama's boy, like, through and through. Like I really understand, like as I get older, just like the power of a woman and being able to like commune with my mom at an older age.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting to see that difference between who grew up leaning on their dad versus their mom. So obviously my dad, that's my guy, I always will be, because to the point I used to write books about my dad. And
Wow.
My mom used to be like feeling away. Like I'm talking about, I'm in middle school, kindergarten. Me and my dad played basketball. Me and my dad. My mom.
Wow.
I'm the one that's
Yeah.
in your face up and all that stuff. So it's so interesting now that I get older. To even now, my older sister like, hey, you talk to mom more than I do, and I live here. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's an interesting dynamic.
That's dope. All right, Cody, pick the next person, bro.
I forgot. Mikkel? Okay. So it says, what do you wish more people understood about you?
I think Kevin might answer that one last time.
Oh man, what do I wish more people understood about me?
You gotta love Kel.
No,
So you gotta love Kel.
no. I think on the outside, people feel like I'm really that I have a good heart and things like that. It comes off very easy for others. But like, man, you're very, I always hear it all my life, like you're very approachable and you're easy to talk to. Some people came to me like, man, why you not like some type of counselor or a therapist or something? Because you just like, you always listen and talk to people. But deep down, people don't understand that I do have a lot of like deep like issues. As we talked about before, I struggle with things like codependency. I'm an empath, so sometimes I seek other people's approval when certain things happen in my life. Like I was telling Jalil and Justin a few weeks ago that after like a divorce or something like that, or if I have a hard conversation with somebody, if it's like a hard conversation, I'm very truthful about it. If they're like hurt by what I said, I can't, it's hard for me to move on without me knowing that that person is okay. I have to instead of letting God step in, like that God's gonna take care of that person. That person get healed by going to God. So okay, that's out of my control. But I take that person's that person's emotions is based on my happiness, and I struggle with that for a long time growing up. That's not even just a relationship. This is with me being a supervisor and manager. If I gotta let somebody go, if I do like corrective action, I gotta tell them like, oh, you're performing wrong, or you're not performing well enough. If they are down about it, it's like, man, it's so hard for me to like. I'm like, man, I gotta make sure that they're okay. But a lot of times I gotta like cut that tie because it affects me the whole day. Like, yeah, I was I wish that on the inside I definitely need more like help, because I do struggle with a lot of things. One of the most recent things is like idolatry, and I'm trying to like really focus on that too. So
the idolatry in what regard?
A lot of it. It can be something as simple as it can be at the Bible study. You can be like, oh, and Justin make 20 mil, and I be saying like, oh, man, so what? Like, I be looking like I be wanting that same like spotlight sometimes in my brain, and I be like, why am I doing it? Like every time I hear something that's being spoken of well about somebody else, I'm like, man, why do I want to be part of the conversation? Why would I want Jalil to point to me and be like, oh, and Kel did this too? And I'm like, why do I feel that? So I was like, what's going on? Why, or if I'm in a meeting at my job and they're like, oh, this person did this, person, I'm like, hope they come around and say something about me too. But a lot of times I'm like, man, why can't I just be happy with what God knows about me? Like, God already knows I'm doing well, and then things like that. But why do I feel like I need a spotlight from other people? So I think it still ties into that code, like needing to seek people's approval. I'm like, why do I, so I've been asking about that. And we had a Bible study, a couple weeks ago, and it was like a point that was brought up about going through like purification, like God, show me what's in my heart that's kind of dark, like somewhere that's not right. Like I need to see like what I'm been hiding this whole time. I asked for that. I prayed for that like a week or two ago, and it's tough. It's like burning, man. So when that happened, even this recent Bible study, it happened again. I'm like, man, this is happening. Like that process I was asking for, I'm going through it right now. But on the outside, when I'm just going there to work and everything, like, man, I can't even tell that you're going through stuff, bro. Like you don't show it on your face, you don't show it on your spirit. I like, man, I said behind closed doors, I'm working really hard. But when I come out, I don't let it show. But it's like, but that's what people don't know about me, though.
That's real, man. That's very real. Anybody else go through something like that or any feeling similar to that, right? I think every man at some point is kind of going through this idea. You know what I'm saying? Where we have this comparison concept of this idea that like, I want to be because I'm not. And that's what I found in my life, which was a big thing for me, Kel. So just so you know that you're not alone. I wanted to be known among great men. I've always had access to great men, like instinctively and innately, since I was born, because my dad was always among great men. And I just felt entitled that I deserved to be there. You know what I'm saying? And then there was a certain point in time where I felt entitled that I was supposed to be there because of like some type of birthright in my mind. Because my dad was among great men, I deserved to be among great men. When I hadn't put in great men work enough to deserve to be able to be considered among great men. It's like, if you want to be great, you have to do great things in order to then be great, or be considered as great. But in order to do great things, you have to do the systematic, disciplinary, is that a word, disciplinary? Yeah, the systematic disciplinary efforts on a day to day to then be great. You know, I feel like the problem though that I discovered for myself was my desire for greatness doesn't come from, or to be considered among great men rather, doesn't come from a genuineness of wanting to then do the little mundane things that lead to the greatness part. It was just the consideration. So now, once I understand that part, it's like, all right, well, now that I understand it's about consideration, now the deeper search is why? Why do I feel like I need to be considered? Where is that coming from? Like, and that's why I love when you said, I start asking myself why, like, you know, why? Because I think a lot of us as men, we go through that. Like, we have that thing in the back of our mind of like what we're feeling, but then we don't know how to source the problem. So because we don't know how to source the problem, then it outlets itself in like mad different areas of our life. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh, well, then that turns into women. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm chasing women. I'm going on, you know, date after date after date. I'm smashing shorty after shorty after shorty. You know what I'm saying? You know, for some people, some guys might be struggling with, you know, homosexuality. So it's like I'm smashing man after man after man. You know what I mean? And so it's just like there's different dynamics that go into all this. Or pornography, right? I'm just watching hours and hours of pornography throughout the month because the human body and the mind is trying to satisfy an urge of desire, and that desire is attached to the dynamic of dopamine, and then that dopamine is outletted through sex, through or orgasm. So I'll say that because that could be masturbation, that could be sex itself, that can be you know, riches, right? So when I go out and I go get money, when I can buy stuff, right? And then also accompaniment, right? Like just who I'm around or whatever. So I get more geeked at being next to somebody who's doing well than I am about actually doing well myself. And so that's why the word is so important fundamentally to wash our mindsets around these things, because the word becomes the central point where Jesus already shares with us in his word that, you know, we don't have to fight for our identity because our identity is in him. So the only way that you feel like you have to be considered among men or be recognized among men is when you don't feel like you have to be recognized by the Father, and or you don't understand what recognition from the Father, how like truly amazing that is. You know what I'm saying? So you'll just be fighting, chasing, trying to get that validation. And then it'll never stop. That's the suckiest part about it. It'll never stop, because you'll go from 20 and then it'll be 21. So now Sean made 21 versus Justin's 20. Now it's like, now you're not comparing yourself to Justin no more alone. Now it's Sean. Now you finally made 20. Now it's Sean, 21. It's like, you ain't gonna stop.
Well, you take this and that's it.
Nah, you good. You good. No, you good. Oh yeah, you good. You good.
I'm gonna share.
That's what the game does. It kind of just leads us into like the talk
to
for
the
the
conversation.
Yeah.
But Kel, I wanna try to be as helpful as I can on this situation too, because man, I'm really just getting into a place where I'm getting over that in general. So I'll give you like 2 things that really helped me out that I think could help out everybody here too. So first thing was, because I was always comparing myself, bro. Like I would see something on social media, especially being in a season where I'm taking a step back from the business. And I know I can do well in business. Like I know for sure. So I see a 23-year-old kid figured out AI agency. He's doing 10 million a year. I'm like, bro, I promise you I can do that. Like, so, but what I started to do was I just put 2 mantras like really in my head, and I based them in scripture. So one was, I don't compete, I complete. So anytime I think about comparing, like I compare myself, it's like, bro, I don't compete, I complete. And then what can I do now to help this person? So like if I see this kid, I pray for him instantly. Like, bro, I really pray that this 23-year-old kid doesn't allow this wealth to get to his head. He doesn't stifle himself by making it his idol. I'll just start praying for him or whatever. Or another one is like, I don't compare, I collab. So then I say, man, how can I collaborate with this person? Like, what can I do? So then my mindset after doing that for many months instantly would turn into, I see something, my heart might have a comparison thing in it, but then instantly something else will show up, and that helped me a lot now, to where now my mind or my heart doesn't even go to comparison in general. I just see that, and then I instantly go to the place of, collaboration, completing, things of that nature. And then the second thing I would share, because I was sharing this with Jalil, and I was 11, is because I had to do this discovery for myself when you're asking about what it was. So I'll share with you the like thought process that I went through, so you can do it for yourself too, and maybe it'll be helpful. So I was trying to figure out, like, where are all of these things that I desire, where are they coming from? And then I realized that after deep research that there's only a couple basic human needs that we have. And then I'll read them to you really quickly. There's 6 of them. So if you guys want to, write it down for your notes or meditate on it. You have the need of certainty. So that's like safety and comfort. Like you need to, for example, like a woman might need, like, I need certainty. I need to know that my man is going to provide for me or whatever. You have uncertainty because, for example, if every single day feels the exact same, as humans, we start to feel like a robot. So we need some sort of variety or travel or something that's uncertain in our lives for us to feel like a human. Next, you have significance, which is importance or like uniqueness. So you want to feel significant. You want your life to feel significant. Next, you have love and connection. So we want to have that closeness, that belonging, that intimacy, those things. So that's love and connection. And then you have growth. So growing, development, personal development, et cetera. And then you have contribution, which is like helping others. So I was doing this exercise, Kel, and basically the exercise, that was the main 6 needs, but there was a bunch of other words that were under like all of these different things. And the exercise was circle all of the words that really stand out to you in accordance to these 6 basic needs. So I'm circling them all. And then I'm seeing, once it gets to significance, there was like finances and knowledge and money and all of these things, and then status and like all of these different things. So in all of the different 6 categories, I found myself circling all of the words that were like money, finance, approval, status, this and that. And then I sat and I was like, why am I like, what is that? Like, there has to be something here. And then it got me back to thinking about just my life and how I grew up. And then I realized that since my dad wasn't in my life from age 2 to 17, he was out the picture for 15 years. And my mom would always tell me, Justin, no matter what, you're going to be great without him. You're going to be so great that he's going to want to come back in your life. Then I realized that the status, the approval, the money, all the things that I had been chasing for this whole time was just so that my dad would see me being good enough that he would want to come back around. And it threw me for a loop, because then you got to realize that was my identity. So I looked at myself as ambitious. People would tell me, like, why do you work so hard, bro? I'm ambitious, bro. So what I was really claiming was all the things, all the traumas, all of those things, I let that be my identity. And then it wasn't until I really felt like the Holy Spirit told me, it's like, yeah, bro, you went on a 15-year detour from where I really had you to go. You are a really great person. You are an ambitious person, but you were doing it from a place of this traumatic experience versus a place of where I actually want you to go. So, unfortunately, you took 15 years to figure it out, or even more now, because I'm 31 now. But it's okay, because I'm a redeemer of time, which we saw in the scriptures where Jesus gets in the boat and then they immediately get to their destination. So that really helped my heart too, because I felt so bad that I had wasted 15 years or even more. But then when I realized that if I just invite him into this situation, then he'll redeem the time and get me where I need to go faster. It really helped me out a lot, bro. So I just, I challenge all of the men in here to think about those 6 needs that we have, and don't beat yourself up about them, because these are needs that we naturally have as humans. For example, see where they show up in your life or where they've shown up in your family's lives. Because I'll give you an example too. So somebody might have a need for love, a need for connection. But let's just say they grew up in a household where their parents would argue, and their parents would argue and then make up in front of them, yell at each other, then have sex or whatever it might be. So the girl grew up thinking that, man, if I love somebody, then I need to yell at them and then make up with them. So then I have a need for connection. But then when I'm talking to my boyfriend or my husband or whatever, I want love, but I'm going to yell. So I yell because I think that that's going to meet my need for connection. So we all have these different needs that we're typically meeting in an unhealthy way. And we just have to identify, where did these needs come from? How am I meeting them in an unhealthy way? And then how can I change that into being in a healthy way? So I just wanted to share that with you guys, and hopefully that helps, guys.
Yeah, man, I think that as the conversation kind of went on, it framed it a little bit differently for me. I've dealt with those things in a couple of different contexts. So, like, a lot of people don't know, but basically growing up, I was kind of like that guy in my family and in a lot of the spaces I would go into. Growing up, though, right, like, my little brother at a certain point became, like, my little brother grew up kind of like in my shadow, and then there came a point to where he got drafted, went to the league, and it's like a lot of times people would try to pit us against each other, right? Because I was real good. We played in the state championship, and they'd be like, whoa, you know what I'm saying? Trying to create that comparison dynamic. And it was like one summer, I write a book, I'm rolling on my real estate journey, and then the very next summer, right, I left my job, everything's going this way, and then, like, you come home, your brother gets drafted, and I'm super excited for him, but you have, like, even people inside your family that are trying to, like, pitch y'all against each other, right? And, like, my brother's my best friend, so it came to a point to where, like, other people are saying these things from the outside, and what I had to reframe the conversation from was, instead of comparing any part of my football career, any part of who I was to my brother, like, how do I see myself and what am I judging myself based on, right? So, like, when you think about who you are today, you are what you prayed for 5 years ago. I don't know where you're at in your life, but there's a part of you today that's actively accomplishing something that you either applied for, worked towards, right? And kind of kicking back to the appreciation conversation, when you skip that, you start thinking about things that you didn't even think about, right? Like, and once again, I'm not saying you necessarily, because it does hit home. Sometimes we see somebody else living the thing that we were trying to live, and you're like, all right, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a real thing. But I think a lot of times, my dad says it all the time, you get what you pray for, but most of the time you forget when you asked, right? So it's like you asked for this 10 years ago and you kind of get to this point and it's like, well, I'm not there. And it's like, well there's a process, brother. And I would only say that in that process of reframing, two questions that have always helped me is what is my gift to the world? And how do I give it at the highest level? And like I said, that's just one element, because even in that, I've also gone to the point of like, hey, I'm doing well in business. And then I see somebody on a real estate tip, right? I got 75 units. I'm 27 years old, 29 years old, 27, somewhere in there, right? I see somebody who has 4,000 units, right? And I'm like, 4,000 units, this is $1 billion in real estate. So I'm writing down, how do I get to a B in real estate? I'm talking to some other guys, I'm going to conferences. And as I'm at these conferences, I'm hearing crazy numbers flying around the room. $300 million last year. Man, I remember I was at a conference one time and it was like, hey, you had to pay a significant amount to be in the room. And they said, hey, who got questions? Like I told you, I've always been that guy. So like I'm first question up, right? I stand up, I get ready to ask my question. He said, hey, how much did your business do last year? I said 1.6. And he was like, sit down. No, but the next dude stood up and he had done like 6.8. And the dude after him, 20-something, 30-something, 100 million. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, hey, respectfully, but this is like, you're barely here right now. Like we're gonna have this kind of conversation, and hopefully you can just grow from that. And I'm only saying that in this context because what that taught me is that there is no competition. Everybody's running their own lane, and you gotta love your lane because, hey, today is the best day of my life, right? Tomorrow's looking better. And you know what I'm saying? I don't even remember none of the bad things from yesterday. There's I think it's Sadhguru who talks about, typically we only suffer in memory and imagination, right? Like you can't suffer. I mean, obviously if you're getting your arm cut off or something, you can suffer a lot in the present. If you're getting bombed right now, God bless the people in Iran and all these other places. But like the maximum amount of suffering in a moment with the right perspective can be managed. Right? But people don't kill themselves because of the suffering that's currently happening. People kill themselves because of what they remember and what they don't see in the future. So if you say, hey, look, tomorrow's gonna be great. Like whenever people ask me how I'm doing, I say great and getting better, whether I'm good or not. And that's only because if I can maintain control of the framing around what right now is to me, like you can say your life looks crazy, or man, how are you dealing with, like, you know what I'm saying, the craziest time. I've had stuff catch on fire, dead bodies, murders, foreclosure situations, like all of these different pieces, you know what I'm saying? And when you can be the same dude at the top as you are at the bottom, and that now you just ride, you just enjoying the ride, and it's like, hey, am I trying to be the richest man in the world? I don't know, but Anthony Bourdain killed himself. You know what I'm saying? You have Robin Williams, and not to throw any names out there necessarily. My bad for the people online, but you have these people who, from the outside looking in, right? The $20 million person, you say, man, I wish I was that, and it's like, you don't want that problem. I don't know if you saw this week, Pinky Cole came out talking about the bankruptcy, right? Just 2 years ago, Fast Company, fastest growing black business. And this is not a knock, because my business took a very similar, you know what I'm saying? We was both riding the wave and we both hit that interest rate, you know what I'm saying? Things change. So it's like you think you want these things, but you don't see what it comes with. So just taking a second to like turn that back internally and to really, really like have a different gravity about yourself. That's like, hey, if I'm missing that validation in myself, did I talk myself up this morning? Because sometimes I'll just look in the mirror and talk like positive vibes to myself. You know what I'm saying? Until I walk out with a, hey, I don't care if my car's on fire, if my house is on fire, a tree fall on my car, like literally somebody shoot at me today. You know what I'm saying? I might have to shoot back, but you know what I'm saying? But it doesn't matter what happens today. I'm good. And can't nobody touch that.
That's good, man. That's good.
Oh, please.
And just like tie it all together. It's crazy that he asked that question from the beginning, because that's, like I said, I prayed for that over like a week and a half ago. Then the Bible study kind of fueled it up some more. And then this past Friday, I listened to somebody suggested a book called Soul Care, and it's supposed to be it's definitely like it's a real good book. And I've been listening to the audio book at work. I'm listening to the whole book and it's like a 9-hour book. I listened to almost the whole book in one day, and I was like stopping and taking notes, and some of the stuff started to like reveal itself. And it's like some of the things you said. It's like even just the fact of I figured it out. I kind of like you also did you spoke a few weeks ago at Bible study. I forgot the name of the king who was like, you said he was a king, and you said that he wanted to sleep with a woman. Yeah, and it was like you said in that Bible study, you said to like go to the root cause of why that's even happening, right? So I said when I asked myself, why am I tripping? Why do I want the spotlight when I hear somebody else get a spotlight? And so I started digging a little deeper, and I started realizing, okay, I want to be recognized. I said, okay, why do I want to be recognized? I said, okay, it's also women in here. I said, okay, it would be nice to be recognized by women too. I said, dang, why I want to get recognized by these women? Oh, because I'm single. How long have I been single? About like 3-4 years. I said, dang, I just got divorced like 4-some years ago. I said, I just been kind of that little loneliness kicking in. I said, so dang, okay, let's go a little deeper than that. So I started like, dang, I live by myself, so let's go a little deeper than that. And I just started realizing, okay, dang, why do I want that spotlight so much? And I started realizing, like, dang, I did a lot for my family growing up. And I started realizing I didn't get a lot of thank yous. And I started realizing, like, crap, I don't think I've got that genuine praise from nobody. Wow. Like, so when I started, that's when I got to the very, very root of it. And I was like, okay, that's what that you are pleased like with me, and I want to be full with that. 'Cause I think the flesh part of me wants to be recognized, but that just being fulfilled by God, I'm like, okay, God, I want like, okay. I think Jaleel mentioned it too, like being like, make sure God is just pleased with what you're doing. So I'm like, okay, God, I just want to make sure that you're pleased with what I'm doing, and let that fulfill me, and not let this flesh part kick in, man. And this that part where you said like being proud of the person you are today. Like I said, I was just a small example. I was 275 like a year ago. Now I'm down to 239.
Let's go.
So I was like,
let's go.
All them days, every morning, getting up at 5 o'clock. Walking to my apartment gym, and I'm like, man, I just locked in, and I just keep going. I don't care how tired, I just keep getting up and going. And then next thing you know, when I'm here today, I'm like, man, freaking clothes falling off. I'm like, you know what, man? Like, it's like you said, you look in that mirror, you're like, dang, I'm so freaking glad that I worked out every single day, to make that happen. So it's that whole. That faith without work is dead. So it's like, yeah, man. So.
That's beautiful, man. Now, all across the board, all of the responses is just really, really dope. And I think everything that everybody has said has led back to one thing, right? And that is this concept of us understanding at the core identity, right? I think that's the one thing that a lot of men struggle with. We've been talking about this in Good Newz, this concept of doing versus being. So a lot of us as men, what happens is we feel like we have to do instead of be. You already know, in a lot of conversations I'm sure you guys have experienced. How many guys have ever experienced? You go, you meet a man, whether it's at a bar or whether it's wherever it is that you're going and you're dealing, have a conversation. Hey, what's going on, man? What's your name? All right, cool. I'll bet where you from? Okay, cool. Okay. Well, what do you do? Instantly, right? Instantly, because as men, we're trying to size up. In a couple moments, we're trying to size up what's the level of importance that I need to give to this conversation. Right. Do I need to rank you as far as how will I rank you in my mind as far as your worth to me in this conversation? And if we don't align as far as money or interest and or opportunity in which I can get something from you because of this conversation, you're not valuable.
It's a sick game.
It is. Yeah. That's how we are. That's how we can be. Yeah. All of that comes from a place when we don't understand what identity is. So I'll give you guys a for instance. So this week I was really blessed with the awesome opportunity to go and speak to some kids at elementary school. So I was speaking to some 3rd and 4th graders. And as I was speaking to them, I was able to meet a couple of the teachers, but there was this one guy, if he's watching this, shout out to Coach Money at Gideon's elementary school. And I remember a day where I would have never really taken the conversation with Coach Money like seriously or of importance. I would have gone in, I would have done my good deed with the kids. I would have made sure I had a videographer there because I wanted to make sure I chopped it up into content, and then I would have left. So the entire exchange was never about the kids. It was always about who? Me. What can I get from this experience, and how can I position myself to look in the public, because I understand the power of content. Me with kids will perform well, and now I'm perceived as the guy that's doing this good thing, and he is this good thing, right? But the conversation with Coach Money would have never even really happened, because outside of getting the directions on where I needed to go or how I need, what was happening with the kids was not relative and or important at all. There was no conversation to have. There was no need to have a conversation with him. What do I need to do to show up for these kids? Okay, my time slot is done. Y'all, I appreciate y'all, man. This is awesome. I'm out. Gotta go back home. Gotta get to work. I stayed and I talked with Coach Money after everything was done for almost an hour. And it was a really big, monumental breakthrough moment for me in my life, where I was able to understand how much the Lord had really killed my old man and how I'm not the same man that I used to be. Because the conversation that I had with the PE teacher of the 4th grade of an elementary school gave me more wisdom than conversations that I've had in rooms with Steve Harvey. Truly. And it's no shade to Steve Harvey, and anybody of that nature, that caliber. I really appreciate the experiences that I got a chance to have in those environments, truly. And there's a breath of wisdom. I don't want it to be confused. But what I'm saying is, in that particular conversation, I was able to gain more wisdom, because you got to really think about this, y'all. And this is why it's so important for us to always be able to see ourselves as, again, who we are in Christ and not what we do. But also to value every single human being for who they are as a human, not because of what they do. You got to think about, what does it take for a almost probably 46, 40, if not 50-year-old almost man to wake up every single day for the last 15 years in an impoverished neighborhood, dealing with 3rd grade and 4th graders and trying to teach them the concept of business and entrepreneurship. Think about that. Kids who come from the hood that literally all they know is American deli as a delicacy. They don't know anything beyond that. So the concept of even the High Museum and coming to Midtown for kids who live, you know what I'm saying, in certain south side of Atlanta, etc., they have no clue about the world that goes beyond where they are. But yet this man who also owns a barbershop that I didn't know until, you know, we had a conversation. He doesn't have to be there. That's the craziest part. He does not have to be there. He's there because he shared with me that he was called to it. He was called to be with those kids. Now think about third grade and fourth grade kids today. I don't know if you guys got little cousins or, you know, nieces, nephews, little brothers, you know, whatever, sons, kids, whatever. Think about the dynamic of being able to have to try to help children be calm and still and present in an age where technology is training their minds every single day. From the moment that they were born, all they've known is an iPad. The whole mindset of those kids versus how many of us who are in millennial generation or Gen Z generation are totally night and day different. Totally. It's two different worlds. This man has to show up every single day with discipline, care, consideration, love, empathy, and all that kind of stuff. At one point in time in my life, I wouldn't have been able to get anything from him from the conversation of asking and having conversations about how to be patient as a man. Because I didn't even know that was a valuable thing to focus on, to learn, to hear. I'm talking about how to stick true to your calling even when you don't feel like it. I'm talking about how to love even when the kids hurt you and say mean things to you. Just because they're kids doesn't mean that it's not hurtful. This man shared all these different lessons and perspectives with me, and then also showed me lessons by his display of actions as far as how he acted with the kids that taught me more, and then taught me the value of understanding that every single person is truly valuable when you take the time to understand who we are and not just what we do. His character is what I learned from. You feel me? So I'm saying all of this to say, there was a point in time where I wouldn't have even wanted to have a conversation with bro. All because all I was thinking about was what I could get. How can I advance my career? How can I advance my status? How can I advance my associations? Versus how can I find out, like you're asking, Kel, which is so brave, all these deeper inner questions that are gonna help me to be free. Because the point of all of this is not for us to just go make money. We already witnessed that between Justin and myself, that when you go and you make $1 million and you make multiple millions, it doesn't matter. Like, you gotta think what it takes to get to that level of access, reach, all of the different things that you could have, and then walk away from it. That's one of the reasons why I respect Justin so much and I appreciate him so much, is because I watched his death process to go from eating out and getting gold flake steaks and drinks brought to him on a wood tray with mist and taking this shorty out and this shorty out and da-da-da and all of this bull crap and just buying stuff, just like spending $1,000 on a ring. It's like, bro, what are you doing? Like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, bro, but what are we doing, right? You know what I mean? And I'm watching you go from that status. If you go, you do your research on Justin, you go on YouTube, every single video you're gonna find with Justin's hundreds of thousands of views, millions of views, you know? You go from all of that and then you walk away from it because you accept that God has something different for you. How the heck do you do that? It's when you realize that idea was an idea that I, Justin P, and Jalil C, formerly, created. We created these men. We created these imposters. Like the Bible, Jesus will call them hypocrites. Not hypocrites meaning you saying one thing and you doing something else only. Hypocrites in the Greek, it actually translates to actors. He was basically saying like y'all are acting, like y'all are putting on the show for people, you know, and not being true to who you actually really are behind closed doors. We created these men. And then when we created these men, we were able to then start to understand that like who we created wasn't true to the core of who we are. That's why, like Justin talked about in the beginning, how me and Justin became friends, because he was showing everybody numbers and what he could do, what was impressive. And then I wasn't attracted to the thing that was impressive. I was attracted to who he was. And I knew who he was probably music, because that was the thing that nobody else was paying attention to, even himself. at that point in time. You feel me? And that's why it always is disappointing to me as a man when I'm dealing with you guys and others, you know, other men, that it's real easy for a man to answer me what he does for his work. I ask you what you do. What you do? Oh, I have a blossoming podcast, and show him what he do. I'm a personal chef. Oh, okay, cool. You know, I mean a private chef. Okay, cool. You know, Dan, what do you do? I'm in school and I'm a content creator. Okay, right. Then I ask you your hobby, and you're like, I kinda, and it's like, what happened to us? What happened to us as men to where we feel like we have to just do, and the identity is based on our doing versus we don't even know who we are anymore. It's Saturday, and I know for many of us, we came here, praise God, which I think is awesome. And I love the fact that we all showed up, right? And our numbers are growing, it's beautiful. But outside of this, I know that for some of us, just gonna go home, maybe we'll do our laundry, we'll eat something, whatever, and then we're gonna just go get back to work. We're gonna just go get back to work. But if I ask you, what do you like to do for fun on a Saturday, you can't answer.
You know what's so crazy?
Yeah, let's get the mic so that NTN can hear you.
Oh man, this thing is serious. There we go. Wow, I'm not that smart, huh?
No,
Okay.
you are smart. You didn't know how to do that.
Nah, I mean, I'm joking, obviously. There you go.
Put the cover on it.
You know what's so funny? That was always one of the things too, like for me. I'm like, when you think back and the person asks you like, what's your hobbies? And it's like, well, I don't have any, you know? But now I started thinking back and I'm like I'm starting to learn myself more. I'm like, how can I actually get some other things to do? Like that actually will be like of interest, you know what I mean? Like, because I'm like, not having any hobbies is kind of crazy. Now that you really think about it, I'm like, my excuse was always like, yeah, I'm focusing on some other stuff right now, you know? But honestly and truly, I really wanted to start building like different habits, different hobbies, things that are outside of like, you know, the day-to-day work, things that you got to do just to get ahead. Like, yeah, like, you know.
And I love what you said too, like the things that you're doing day to day to get ahead. That's the mentality that we have. What are we trying to get ahead of? Where are we going? That's the concept that we have to like really think about. Where are we going? And then once you identify where you're going, let's just say right now to you, your going is the top of the truest building right here. Okay, cool. You're gonna get all the way to the top. When you get all the way up there to the top, if you guys all look at that building right there, it's the one with the pyramid all the way back with the tall steeple at the top of it, that's the truest building. When you get to the top of that building, what happens?
It's like,
No, seriously, like genuine, like no, physically. If I was to climb to the top of that building, what would happen once I got to the top? Say it again? You have to go back down to the bottom, sure, but when I get up there, what will happen? Well, like, what stops? Huh? The climbing. I can't get no higher. There's nothing else to do. So the fulfillment will stop. Do you see that? That's why it's like when we talk about getting ahead, the question we're asking, where, like genuinely, like where are we going? Where are we going? Like when we're climbing this ladder of success to be the richest man in the world, to be the person that has the most real estate in Atlanta or in the whole country, right? Like when we have the biggest podcast in the game, like on Smash, I'm talking about 25, 30 million monthly listeners. Where do we go from there? Where do we go? So it's like, one second. So it's like, if we're not doing all of this work down here to know I have my hobbies, right? Or to know, like, I got my brothers, like, real genuine connection. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, I have my identity and my base rooted in Christ. What I love about this journey that I'm on with Christ for myself personally is that you can never arrive. So you'll always continuously be going. It's always going to be a chasing of this, of after him. You want to know why? This is what I found out. It will literally take you an eternity to try to figure out God. It'll take you an eternity to figure out God. Meaning you can spend the rest of life or existence as we know it and as we don't know it, trying to learn something that can never be fully comprehended, because he is infinite in his intelligence, infinite in his ways, vast in his splendor, majestic beyond our comprehension. And so when we chase God, we have the ultimate chase. Because what I won't neglect is the fact that as men, we do need something to hold on to. We need something to advance the ball with. We need something to, like, you know, sink our teeth into and like get after. I don't want it to be confused that I'm not like in business. I'm not like, I want to kill something. You know what I'm saying? I want to grow. I want us to hit the goal, right? It's not to say that it's bad. It's just to say, like what Markel was talking about. Is it my idol? Is it the thing that is my identity? Is that where am I attaching how my emotions are on a day-to-day basis? And watch this is really important. How I feel about myself based off of the success that I achieve or don't. If my identity is rooted in that, I lose every single time. But if I rewire my identity and I place it in Christ, I will never, ever have enough peace, never, ever have enough joy, never, ever have enough love in my heart, because it's endless. It's abundant beyond what we can ever imagine. I'll never get enough of it. You see what I'm saying? Ivan?
All I was going to say is that I think that especially, because I've had moments, so I used to work at Deloitte, like 2 buildings past that one, right? So like, when you're in some of those environments, they are very competitive and the hours are so long that you do start to lose part of what you have normal time for. And what I feel like was something that really kind of stuck with me and something that I've even kind of grown through even to today is that you kind of, what helped me was to figure out, hey, what exactly do I need? Like, what are my actual needs? What is enough for me now to just be working in my gift? Like when they say, hey, a man's gift is going to make room for him. Like what are my actual needs? Hey, I need transportation, I need a roof, and I need to be able to eat most days, right? You know what I'm saying? So like, once you can get that, then everything else, now you can just play that game. And then now, when that enough number is hit, now it's not, I'm always taking on more hours to just get a little bit more, to just get a little bit more material, a little bit tight is gonna be. So like, then you can start letting that fruitful alignment just blossom in a different way. So it's not necessarily, hey, I gotta go do this, I gotta go do this, I gotta go do this. Because now that your foundation is solid, or your house is taken care of, your car is taken care of, just your basics are taken care of, now I can put my time fully into the things that I feel like God has gifted me with. So now I'm discovering a lot more of these hobbies, and these hobbies actually become profitable. And then maybe God puts me on a platform 5 years from now that I never would have been on because I was trying to get a $10,000 promotion.
I want to ask you a question on that.
Can I add on that?
Oh, please, yeah. Let me ask. I want to ask him a question because I think it'll open up that conversation. Then feel free to chime in too, because I know what somebody at home is thinking because I thought it myself. So I want to bring it to you so you can, even talk about it. That sounds great. I love it. But even for myself, being at a place where, let's say, you're doing decent, you're doing well, and you have all of these things, and then now, man, I gotta let go of all of these things. My house that I had, or my car that I have, or my whatever that I have, and what's the mindset that someone has to be, attached to or have to be able to actually let go of the things that are beyond basic needs to be able to achieve the thing that you're talking about. Because I think that that's something that a lot of people are going to struggle with because they're so used to having this baseline where, okay, cool, I understand I need to do that, but what heart do I have to do? And how do I get to the heart to be able to let go of these things? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'll be just 100% transparent, right? So like, I was trying to double the size of my business that it took me 8 years to build in a year. I had a great plan. Stuff was going great till about August, right? Like, and in August of that year, stuff started slowly falling off one by one. So you go from 142, and this is just unit count, 142 to 136 to 125, 110. And now you're starting to learn, like, man, you go past the I'm a failure phase to I don't understand where my worth is coming from to like, man, what is life really? Like, I wouldn't say that, I definitely wouldn't say like anything too dark in terms of like what that is, but you can definitely feel very, very, very low. And in that moment, I feel like sometimes God will put you in those scenarios to where, like, if you have a calling and you're too far off base, hey, I'm going to take all that away from you. And what I would just encourage somebody to do is say, sometimes you can fall into alignment, because I think the heart posture is saying, hey, do I trust God more than the plan that I have for myself? Mm-hmm. Because if not, God can show me that none of this stuff works without him anyway, right? So for me, it's like I had to be shown, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm trying to max it, like, you know what I'm saying? Hey, look, whatever you thought was crazy, I'm gonna double it, right? And that was my mentality, and I'm doing it. I'm riding away. I'm living a crazy life, and every time I'm saying, hey, you see that big old star up there? We're gonna do that tomorrow, you know what I'm saying? And it happens a couple of times, and you build this hubris, and you build this ego, you build this pride. You say, not that it's me, because for me it was affordable housing. I'm doing it for the community. I was doing it for all these good things. But hey, like, you can do good out of alignment. Mm-hmm. And if you do good out of alignment, there are consequences for that. So to your point, I can't speak on anybody else's situation. I'll speak for me. I could have done this without having to be shown, right? And it's only after having been shown, it's like, well, because when you start being put in a situation where you have to make sacrifice, you say, well, actually, what? Here's a question I haven't asked myself in years. What do I need? Mm-hmm. Not what do I want, what's lit, what's fly, what's over there. What do I actually, I don't need none of this. I don't need, but like this little itty bitty part over here. And the crazy part was, I wrote a book called Retired at 24, and I left my job when I had what I needed, and everything after that was like, there was a point where it was all good, then it became ego. And what I'm saying is that when I look back at it, it's definitely a moment to where you can find a discipline, and you can allow God to discipline you. So I would just encourage somebody to say, hey, you know the easy way or the hard way. And that's what I would say the heart posture is. Do you feel like your life is coming from a place of every day I wake up and I'm expressing my gift from a non-monetary perspective because I have a level of appreciation for the material things in my life? So now I can ride a level of alignment with my spiritual gifts and the way that I go to sleep feeling like I did my thing today.
Mm-hmm. That's good, man. My bad. Oh yeah, early I wanted to do. Your mind is like, you need to be doing something. Like, why are you just sitting here, just, relaxing? Like you need to be doing something. Like, read a book, watch a YouTube video. Like, is that like, how do you get?
That's
what I
mean? That's a really good question.
Yeah.
So, what do you think the difference is between idleness and stillness?
Oh, so I believe that idleness is, you have a lot of free time, and now that free time is turned into things that are, I feel like, brings you backward, more detrimental.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So lack of motion, right? Motion is success. Lack of motion or lack of activity in the direction of to your detriment.
Yeah.
Right? Or in a negative direction.
Yeah.
Stillness is presence without motion.
Yeah.
Presence in the place that I'm in. Presence in my thoughts. Presence in my emotions. Searching within my heart. Meditation on my life. When you have stillness doesn't mean that you're not being productive. when you're doing stillness the correct way. That's why the Bible says in Hebrews chapter 4 that there is a rest for the people of God. There's a way that the Lord is able to minister to you and like move through you in the stillness place. So let's talk about what does that then look like practically, right? So today is Saturday. For myself, for Justin, for Amir, we've all committed that for the rest of our lives, the culture of our lifestyles, the businesses that we do together, as well as the families that we will build, is all cultivated around honoring the Sabbath, which means that the Sabbath is Saturday. And so that means that Saturdays are our rest days. We do not work on Saturdays. We don't work on Saturdays. This to us is not work in the sense of this is ministry. And even on Saturdays, there would be times where people would go to the temple and they will worship God, right? So we create this space where we get a chance to chop it up with y'all. But outside of this, once we're done, me and Justin have a business we're working on right now. You know what I'm saying? This is our life's work. This is our business in the sense of our life's what we're working towards, right? What we do as far as our occupation, quote unquote, right? But there's other dimensions of our business that we're not allowed to talk about today. Like now, you seen Cody's eyebrows raised all the way up back his head. Because I didn't say we weren't going to work on the business today. I said talk about today. I'm talking, we have a test campaign of ads that just went live last night. We can't search and look at them today. You see Cody? He said, wait, what? Yeah. Imagine you are excited about a new division of the business. You've been researching, doing a work for 90 days already. You've been fasting about it. You've been praying about it. You got the product literally on your prayer closet altar. You going to the Lord about everything. You feel like you doing everything. And then you launch it all and you can't even check it on the Sabbath day, nor talk about it on the Sabbath day. Because you are that committed to the fact that you said that you were going to honor God's word, which says to honor the Sabbath, and you were going to live by that. That place is stillness. That place is being able to sit with yourself and then ask yourself these deeper questions. Ready for this? Mm-hmm. Why do I feel like I have to search? Just look at it. What's the difference between me knowing versus not knowing? What's the difference between me seeing it real time and refreshing my feed every, 5 minutes or whatever to see what new numbers dropped? It was only a couple hundred or only a couple 10 or whatever it is, but yet the satisfaction of you just knowing, all of it speaks to control. Mm. So now we say to ourselves, well, what do I want to do today? And so for me, last week, I went on a hike. I went and got in nature. And you know what? The Lord showed me another dimension that he was taking the business in nature. Through nature. I'm out in the hike and he's giving me all this game on how the forest works. By the Holy Spirit, not on chat, not like on YouTube, not on a podcast. I'm talking just straight. The Holy Spirit is literally talking to me and showing me a waterfall and saying, this is what this needs to be and this is what that needs to be. And da-da-da. I'm like, oh my God. I'm thinking the business was this. He like, no, this is the start of what your business is. This is actually what I have you building. I'm like, whoa. How would I have known that if I didn't take the moment to give God what was his? We talked about that being the CEO of the company, right? Yeah. Give God what's his, it's his operation. Put it on break because we're closed on Sundays. Closed on Saturdays. Do you see any employees at Chick-fil-A on Sundays?
No.
Because that's the commitment.
That was the first analogy that came to mind, though. Yeah.
They're closed on Sundays. They don't work on Sundays.
Yeah.
It is what it is. It's not a negotiation. It's not a debate. No matter how bad you want that biscuit because your kid is about to, have their party and you want to get the whole Chick-fil-A biscuits, well, guess what? You better come on Saturday night. Because Sunday, we ain't going to be here.
Yeah. But that's good, too, because, like, it spreads out into different areas and it allows you to be patient, So just honoring that day that you guys set, like you don't even talk, like you don't even open up the ads manager, none of that stuff. Like it gives you that patience and trust and faith. So
Now, I want to be real. I'm not going to sit here and fraud you like it's easy. You feel me?
Sure, it's
like, I'm
not
not going to,
easy.
well, I'm talking, we on FaceTime, and I'm like, hey, brother. He's like, hey, I'm like, man, I'm not thinking about anything but the Lord, aren't you? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, I ain't about to sit here and fraud you at all, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? This crap is not easy at all. But it's worth it, like you said, because of the lessons that you get as a result of it. But it doesn't mean that you don't have to die. Like last night, he's like, well, if we do this, I could just do this tomorrow, And I'm like, yeah, that sounds great, but tomorrow's Sabbath. And he's like, right. So I'm like, oh, because we was talking about something. He was like, yeah, so we just do this today, we launch tomorrow, and then I was like, you mean Sunday? He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, tomorrow's Sabbath. He's like, right. It's not like, because I just don't want it to be ever, in any world, in any conversation, that us opening up the dialogue and also sharing perspectives from lessons that we've been learning doesn't mean that we are totally free from the emotional attachments that come to some of these things, or that we just got it all figured out, like we just these perfect people. Yeah, for sure.
yeah, let me bring it to
I want to say something because it speaks to. It's funny because exactly what you said. So I'm 7-Day Adventist, so that's like my whole thing. So like it's crazy because me, what I've tried to do, like for